Going live, going live. Hello. Uh, hello. Okay. So, hello everybody. And I think I should also have it queued in on my IG now. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure I was live on all platforms. So I just wanted to go over this call breakdown. If you could tune in live, you got any questions, let me know. If you're catching it on the replay, you got any questions, let me know. But this is a call that we got in. It's a PPL lead that we got in. And I just want to go over a couple things about the call. I won't go over the full call. I'll just do a little bit of it right now. Just a couple key points, just as far as kind of how we open up the introduction with the PPL leads, what we would say to them, stuff like that, And I think this was a pretty decent call with the seller. So I'm one to kind of break this down. This is one of Jaden's PPL leads that came in, and I just wanted to go over a couple things. Why I said some things, some of the things that I said, why I said them, what I was thinking, probably what the seller was thinking. You never know what a person's thinking, but I just want to go over that with you. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get right into the call. I'll get right into the call, and like I said, if you got any questions, let me know. So here it goes.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fine. So Greg lets me know that you are looking to sell that property there on Edgerly, or at least.
That's correct.
Okay. How much are you looking to get for it?
I'm, and I'm a very frank person.
Yes,
Until recently, I have not been thinking about it, so I have not done my paper and pen work. So that's where I am. I can't answer that right now.
Gotcha. Hadn't really considered a decent price.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
So one thing I want to point out right there that I did, and this is very, very important, especially when you're doing PPL, if you can get away with doing this on outbound leads or outbound calls where you're prospecting, you're doing cold calling, cold text, and you're calling them, then by all means get away with it. And just the point is to ask them what's your asking price up front. Ask them very quickly. But this is definitely about a PPL inbound lead and kind of how to handle that call. You are looking to sell this property at this time. Is that correct? Yeah, I am. Okay, how much are you looking to get for it? Right. And so I really asked the question in just like such a harmless way that they can't get mad, like, oh, not putting up his guard or putting up defensive. I just want to let him, explain to me what he wants as if I'm an order taker. No different than if you go to a restaurant and they say, okay, you guys are looking to grab something to eat. I mean, what do you want? You want the number 2? And then quickly after that, they're like, you want it medium or large, small? It's like you wouldn't be necessarily put off by that question, but that question helps the server and the restaurant or the establishment provide you with what you're wanting because they're asking you what you're looking to get. Likewise, when these PPL people are coming in, they're looking for a service. They're looking for us to do our jobs. So at the outset of the call, you need to ask them right away, you are looking to sell. I just want to make sure that, and then how much you looking to get for it, right? So, and something to consider too, if you ask them, you are looking to sell the property at this time, is that correct? And they say something like, yeah, definitely want to sell. you probably got yourself a good seller, somebody who's going to be reasonable with you, somebody who's going to work with you and get you to actually um, get you to the closing table. They're going to be negotiable. But if you say, so you are looking to sell the property at this time, right? Which seems to be the obvious question because they went online to your website and filled out a form to get a cash offer. Seems to be the obvious question. But if you ask that and they say something like, well, what are you offering? Well, it depends on the offer, or we're thinking about it. We don't really know. It just kind of, then you're like, oh, okay, got it. That doesn't tell you everything you need to know, but it is a good indicator that perhaps this person isn't highly motivated, right? And then that's when you hit him with the, so how much you looking to get for it? And you can see it really put him off, caught him off guard. He wasn't able to plant his feet. He said he doesn't really know, but let's see if he actually reveals that in the rest of the call.
It's a very nice size lot, 2-bedroom, living room, bathroom, kitchen, dining room.
Okay. And Greg lets me know that you have been doing some work on the property. What are some things, well, I guess if you've already done, and what are some work that you probably still need to do on the property?
Okay. Well, basically, the majority of the work that needs to be done is what I call facial work, painting, and stuff like that. I wanted to. There's a pecan tree right in the backyard over the house, and just over the years, the stain from the pecan tree have gotten on the faucet and all around that. So just wanted to tighten all of that up. As far as major work, I have not been told. Now can I think of any major work that needs to be done? I constantly have the central air checked, and you know, it's up to par. They comes out and every 6 months and make sure that it's serviced and all of that.
I want to stop him right there. All right. Obviously, we all know the 4 pillars, or maybe you don't know the 4 pillars. When you're having a real estate sales call, as far as wholesaling real estate is concerned, as far as if you're wanting to buy a property as a rental property or a flip, when you're trying to get to a contract, you need to ask 4 things: price, time, motivation, and condition. How much you want to get for it? Time, when do you want to close? When do you need to close? Motivation, what's your reason for selling this house? And condition, what is the actual condition of the property? Because all of that's going to come into effect at some point when you're trying to get them locked up, like down the line. This is all about building the blocks. You're building rapport to get them to trust you, to give you information so that way you can get the right price, so that you can help them out. But I'm asking them about the condition. I just wanted to stop to point out just a little detail. Most newer people don't catch this, but I always catch it. When he brought up the HVAC, the heating and cooling unit, he said, I didn't ask him directly about it, but he said, it's been serviced. I get it serviced all the time. They come out to replace it, repair it. Listen, bottom line, when it comes to the HVAC unit and the roof, and a couple other things like the water heater and stuff like that, but mostly those 2 things I'm looking for is how old is it? What year was that HVAC system put attached to the house, right? I don't want to know when the last time somebody came out to service it, or what time when you last got an oil change and a tune-up on it. I need to know how old is it? Is it 3 years old, or is it 18 years old? You know what I'm saying? Because most HVAC systems have a lifespan of about 10 to 15 years on the high end. Anything past that, it probably is on its last leg. If not, it's already been there. And the roof, most roofs have like a 20 to 30 year time span. So if they're like, oh, I had some guys come out to fix a shingle. Actually, you know what? A call just came in, so I'm about to call them live here. We're gonna have to pause Mr. Mike, and I'm about to call a guy right now.
Hi, I'm a Google virtual assistant recording this call for the person you're trying to reach. Before I try to connect you, can I ask what you're calling about?
Hey, my name is Martin. I was calling to speak to Mike.
Here, either way, but I can't be in. Hello?
Hey, sorry, am I speaking with Mike?
Yes.
Hey, my name is Martin. I was calling about the property on Kendall Park Drive. Um, is now a good time to talk?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm just trying to see if somebody, like a company, is wanting to buy my house and maybe
Yeah.
give me a better offer.
No, absolutely. So you are looking to sell that property at this time. That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay. How much are you looking to get for it?
I had started the listing at 350, but I guess the market took a tumble, and I got it listed right now 335.
Yeah, the market. How long has it been listed? Because the market has been going crazy.
It's been weird, but yeah, I've had it up for 2 months now. I've had quite a few like showings and stuff, open houses. But I've also had a lot of like people just bailing out and canceling plans after I have to leave the house because like we're still living in there. So
Yeah.
it's been annoying.
Yeah, likewise. It is very annoying. And we, just us being in the business of investing and stuff like that, we sell just as many properties as we buy. And so we deal with that as well, just people backing out on you and stuff like that. And so, okay, so it's currently listed with the real estate agent. Um, I mean, what's your time frame? How soon are you looking to sell this house?
I don't really have a time frame.
Okay.
But, I mean, obviously, the sooner the better. I mean, if it's within like a month, that'd be great. But if not, I still got a place to live. I'm not worrying about it.
Absolutely. I mean, what has you looking to sell? This looks like a really nice house. And
we just want a bigger house. That's all.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That sounds like a good problem to have. To wanting a bigger place.
Yeah, I mean, like it's all got brand new stuff on it. Like everything, like almost everything in it is brand new, except like the flooring and stuff is the same hardwood. But I mean, I got a brand new entire kitchen from floors to countertops. All the shelving and cabinets are all new. New entire HVAC system, new insulation, new siding, new trim, new front door, back door.
Gotcha. So you've put a lot of work into this property here.
Yeah. I mean, we were planning on staying there a while, but we just want a bigger house.
Okay. Well, I mean, a little bit about us. I'm not sure, if what ads that you saw that you're responding to, because we got quite a bit of them out there. But, we are investors. We're actually a service provider to our network of investors. And we're a service provider to the sellers that we work with. Full disclosure, though, because we are investors, we do purchase property with the intention of making a profit, hoping that we can, make some kind of turnaround on the property. And, if we can do that, if we can purchase the property at the right price, then, I mean, from there, we can be very accommodating to you, the seller. We pay all cash. We take care of all the closing costs and fees, and there's no realtor fees, at least on our end, that you'd need to worry about. And we close very quickly. I mean, just as soon as title work comes back, we can close as long as we can get the right price. And so, how much? I mean, did you sign like a 6-month listing agreement with your real estate agent?
No, not really. Just I don't know what she does. I'm not convinced she's very good at what she's doing right now. I don't think she's pressing that hard for it, so she's kind of on thin ice with me.
Hey, a lot. That's one thing I noticed with a lot of real estate agents. It's just like some of them, they'll just work really hard to get you to sign an agreement to list the property. And then from there, they just put it on the market and then they don't do anything else. When there's a lot more to getting a home sold than just listing it, just putting it on the internet. You have to do a lot more. But, I say that to say, like I said, with a cash offer, we would need to buy the home with some equity in it. And then from there, we can offer you all those things. And be pretty flexible as far as closing, even offer you, depending on which of our investors purchases it, we can even offer you time after closing, maybe a week or two. So that way you and your family have some, you got your funds in your pocket and you can transition.
Right.
So if, if we can go ahead and close on the property, I see it's listed at 335. I mean, if it's listed at that and it's not selling, I don't think that we could buy it at that price. I mean, what's the absolute best that you all will be looking to do if we can go ahead and close on the property?
So here's the thing. That is what I need. I need 335 bare minimum because it's going to cover not only the rest of the house payment, but also it's going to go into like my down payment, paying off a few debts, and then getting stuff like a fund for the whatever new house we get.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I completely
If
get
you just said that if you can't if
Yeah.
it's listed that it's not selling, you can't do it. Then yeah, I get that.
absolutely right. And that's why I say it's just like full disclosure, we are investors. We can do all those things, but it has to make sense
Yeah,
price wise.
You guys gotta make money. You guys gotta make money too.
And just honestly, man, obviously this doesn't help us out much, but I would say you could try listing it with a different real estate agent, just depending on your listing agreement that you have. I mean, even, we do list properties. I'm not sure. We're not a licensed real estate agent, but we have a done for you service where we would list the property for you, and we kind of guarantee you a net price. We pay the realtor fees. We still pay the closing costs. And then from there, we'd even be kind of the difference between us and a real estate agent is we come in and we can actually kind of take care of some things like getting the property cleaned up, decluttered. We get the outside a little bit more cleaned up, like pressure washed. Obviously, we're not going to do renovations on the house, but we will put a little bit of elbow grease. I mean, it looks nice already, obviously, but we can do a few other things on it. Just to see. That's an option if you want to just kind of switch your listing and have somebody else do it for you. We're people like working with us because we do a little bit more to get your home sold for you.
I guess that's really all the information I needed. If I decide to take a different route, I'll probably hit you guys back up.
No, absolutely, man. And this is my direct line. You can give me a call or even text me here anytime. And again, my name is Martin, man. If you have any questions, just let me know.
All right, thanks, man.
All righty, man. Yep. Dang. Yo. We got some folks coming in, man. Shout out to Richie Rich. That's how the rich stay rich. Keep it in the family. Shout out to my guy, Rich. The entity. Hey, I like that. What's going on, dog? What's going on, bro? Yes, sir. Checking in. Yeah, man, that seller was not talking about anything. That was just a new PPL lead. I was in the middle of breaking down one of my other calls, which you see right here on the screen. But we got a new lead that just came right in, already listed. So I don't know whose lead that was. If it was one of our guys or because it wasn't mine. Or it didn't come directly from my account. But that guy, it was already listed. He's wanting obviously more than what the home is worth. It's been listed for 2 months. But I want to point out, just notice a couple things I did was I didn't let it stop me from still making an offer. I didn't commit to him any cash offer. I never committed to him an offer because I can kind of tell just from talking to them that this guy is looking for full market value. So I'm asking questions to be sure that's what you're looking for. Are you actually looking for full market value, or are you going to be reasonable and work with me and bend or negotiate on your purchase price before you give them out a number? We all know it's important to make offers, and the amount of offers that you can make will equate to the amount of contracts that you actually get, or offers you get accepted, to contracts you get to amount of deals you get closed, right? And so, but it's not just about throwing out offers. It's about making offers to qualified sellers. Otherwise, you can just go on, hey, 300,000, 300,000, 100,000, 50,000, 50,000. And I'm sure if you did that, you would run into something if you did that enough volume. But we're buying the PPL leads, we're spending the money on them. We want to make sure that we're just in this game. It's about getting better at your craft, and you want to make sure that you're not committing to a seller that's not willing to commit to you. And so I was asking him enough questions just to kind of ascertain where he was at in the process. And if you listen to him, he's telling me like, I need this amount of money, yada, yada, yada. I'm saying like, full disclosure, Mr. Seller, we're investors. You know that, right? Like, you know that we're not going to be able to come in and pay above market value, even at market value. We need to have some equity in the house just to see what he says. And I never threw out a number, right? Miss Jackson, that's for those of you who don't know that Miss Tanya Jackson actually Richard's boss. Yes, that's absolutely right. And so, hello, Tanya. But one thing I did do, even though he already had the property listed, now I wouldn't have done this a couple months ago. I'm gonna be real with you. But even though he has the property listed, I still pitched him on the idea of taking the property down and listing it with us instead. I mean, it can't hurt to just make that pitch. That's the offer you want to make. Most times there is an offer that you want to make. Excuse me. It's an offer that you don't want to make, but that you need to make before you get off that phone. And it's not all about the number. Like I said, you don't want to throw out a number to a seller who's already not willing to commit to you. That's the waste of time. And you could put a bad taste in his mouth, whereas if you just kind of keep it light, he's willing to come back. If he's still curious, like, he never did tell me a number. But if I tell him, hey, we'd be at this number, in the back of his mind, when his situation starts to change, he won't come back to us. Because in his mind, he's going to be thinking they're at that number, that's them. It's like, no, I mean, we might have some room to play with, but you got to come back and holler at your boy. And so don't throw out a number before you got them in ready to commit, right? It's just like, otherwise they're going to go off, might even shop your number around if they're not serious. So you just really wasted your time. But I did pitch him on, he's already listed with a real estate agent. I said, if you want to, depending on your situation with them, if you want to take that listing down and come back and list it with us, we, as opposed to listing it traditionally with the real estate agent, we can do this, and this for you, right? So that's something to think about. It's just like, you don't have to. Let's get back to the real seller call. That dude was tweet. Jade on IG said, man, he ain't talking about nothing, man. Now let's get back to the real seller call. That dude was tweaked out, but great job, though. Yes, sir. Because that seller was egregious to say the least. Yes, we know, Richard. As a matter of fact, once we close some more deals, I'm going to call Mr. Jenkins back, and I'm going to get you all, maybe a chair or some sort of furniture. So you and Tanya, Tanya can do to you what Mr. Jenkins' wife does to him. I'm just wait, not that, but I just want to point out, I mean, it's just like, you gotta go for it. Don't be afraid. You can't lose anything. Don't throw out numbers, but you can make suggestions. Even if, I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, man, I would have offered a owner financing or something like a subject to or something like that if you need it, right? And I didn't do that because that's not really what my focus is on right now. But if you got that tool in your tool belt, even if the situation looks sticky, even if in the back of your mind, like, he probably ain't gonna go for this, still offer it. Anything short of throwing out a number just for them to chew on and leave you. Like, don't just throw out numbers randomly, right? Not the chair, man, not the chair. But I didn't expect that call to come in. I'm gonna go over this current call that we got here with Mr. Mike a little bit more, but I'm not gonna finish it all today. I'll break it up in pieces. We'll continue on. And we got more from Mr. Mike later on anyhow. So,
to my knowledge, there's no leaks or anything.
Sounds like there's some leaks
that I'm aware of. There's no structural damage as far as I'm aware of. And the reason I'm saying it like that because sometimes uh, you can be so close to the forest you don't see what somebody else may see.
Right.
But I just want to be straight with you. I don't want you to say, well, this man, once we had a chance to really check that out, he shot us some breeze. I don't operate like that. I just like to be straightforward because that's how I want people to be with me. Now, realistically, I'm looking at about between 30 35.
Hmm.
I think. Uh, but since we are having this conversation at this time, I can begin to put pen and paper together and come up with something that is more concrete, and then we can work to come to a common ground.
So, a couple of things I want to point out about this seller. Whereas totally far into the spectrum from that last guy I was just talking to, this guy finally, at first he said, I didn't really have a number, but he came back and actually answered my question. He said 30 to 35. If you have a seller and they give you a range off rip, that tells me that that person is negotiable. That's an important um, because they gave you a range. That lets me know that they're not most sellers. If they give you a solid number or some, they're standing firm on that. He gave me a range, so that lets me know that he's kind of like he's already like in limbo. He's willing to come down. Moreover, he flat out says, we can kind of come to some sort of common ground. He let me know verbally that he is negotiable. Now, this is the biggest takeaway I want you guys to kind of consider when it comes to talking to sellers. Is I heard from, I believe it was Maya Angelou. I was a big fan of Maya Angelou in high school. And she was just talking about some advice as far as people in general. When a person tells you who they are, believe them. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that. But it's very, very true with these sellers as well. When a seller tells you who they are, believe them. Because after you do it so much, there's a couple different seller types, just like personality types. And then there's a couple different outcomes that you can get. Now, with a few outliers, I mean, we always, every time you're going to run into some wild stuff, like, for example, Mr. Jenkins. I was, I don't know, I mean, or a gentleman that we work with. I mean, he was very interesting, very cool guy. And he let us know his occupation. It was wild. So you run into stuff like that kind of catch you off guard. But for the most part, the overall transaction is a couple different types of sellers, like 4 or 5, and it's a couple different type of outcomes. And so when you listen, the sellers are going to qualify themselves. They're going to flat out tell you, it's almost as like they're holding a big sign up that says, I'm not going to be a deal. I'm not going to budge. I want too much. They got a big sign up that says, I'm going to ask you for too much money. I want above asking price. I'm going to be unreasonable. They might as well have delusional written on their forehead. Whereas you got some people that have, I am work withable. I'm a more easygoing seller. I'm here to get you what you're looking for. I want to create a win-win situation. So I understand that you as investors need to make money, but I got to come out on a W-2. So let's meet in the middle. He's really legitimately saying this. That's what I mean. And if you listen and pay attention to a seller, and if you observe their situation, is the property already listed? Have they been trying to sell it? Yada, yada, yada. All of these other details, like what's the condition? Then you will be able to identify the seller. But don't do it too quickly now. Don't do it too quick. Because sometimes, like in the beginning of this call, he said, I don't really have a price. I hadn't thought about it. And like less than 3 or 4 minutes later, he's telling me 30 to 35. Right? And so take your time. But as time goes on through the call, as you establish rapport with that seller throughout the call, they'll trust you more, and therefore they'll be more truthful and forthcoming. Then you'll be able to identify, oh, this person ain't talking about nothing, right? So, be patient, stay in the pocket, and you never know. So let's see where this goes from here.
Okay.
Now, the property, there's no lien. Well, of course, I know you do title search. Of course, I know that. But But just for sake of conversation, there's no hold, lien, nothing on the property. The only thing on the property is the current, this year's taxes. That's all.
This year's taxes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And all right. So, like you said, basically,
And because I have a couple of properties, so I'm thinking right off the top of my head, I think this year's tax is like $67 or something.
okay.
Mhm.
Got it. Got it. That won't be. It's nothing crazy at all. So, and are you the only decision maker? Is there anyone else whose name is on the property?
No, I'm 100% owner.
Okay.
Obviously, I think that's that's a basic point right there. But I'll just point that out for anybody who doesn't like really, who's newer. Don't get so far along in the conversation like I have done, made that mistake for years, and did not establish who's the decision maker. Like, are you actually qualified to agree? Can you even sign off? Because what I used to do when I first got started was I would go so deep into negotiating with the first person that I got in contact with. And then I'm like, even going back and forth with them on the price, right? And we get to the point where we're actually like, I think I got them down. I think I got them to the right price that I need. And so, Mr. Seller, can we do 30,000? And they're like, we might can make 30,000 work. And my fingers are crossed. I'm doing backflips. And then the next thing you know, they say, well, it's actually my sister's property. So let me see if she'll do the 30. I'm like, huh? Oh my goodness. Right. And so you don't want to get caught in that position. Make sure you ask those preliminary questions, those basic, just like I did with that other dude. He said, yeah, I'm trying to sell my house. I think he told me it was listed like within the first few seconds. And I still asked him, so you are looking to sell this property at this time, right? They over communicate with these people. Don't think that a question you ask is too basic. It's like if you go into the doctor's office and you're like, doctor, my chest hurt. He's like, you're having chest pains is what you're telling me? Okay. Is it like a pinch? Is it like in your lungs? Is it on your like pectoral muscles? Is it like a burning sensation? Is it like right? The doctor has to figure out exactly what's going on with your chest before he can diagnose it. Likewise, when these sellers come in, you have to ask them, over communicate, ask them all the right questions before you can get to some sort of, to offer them any type of value. It's very important. Don't sleep on that. And so you are the decision maker. I had to make sure he's not also owning this with like his brother. He's got a wife, or even worse, an ex-wife, because those tend to get sticky. Those situations tend to get sticky. So you want to make sure that, you're asking those basic and direct questions, even early on. I mean, this call, as you can see, it goes a little bit longer. So I'm going with the flow. You don't want to force things, but I am going with the flow of the conversation. Otherwise, I would have asked that even sooner. So you are the decision maker, right? Is there anyone else who needs to sign off on the paperwork? I usually add that in if I feel like the seller is going to be defensive about the question. So you are the decision maker. Is there anyone else? Here's a pro tip. When you ask certain questions, if you feel like that seller is not going to be reasonable, and that seller is going to give you, or just anybody, sellers or buyers or whoever, but you feel like that person is going to give you pushback when you ask them a question, do your best to tell them why you're asking the question in the question. For example, here's a pro tip. Will we need to pay off any taxes, liens, or is it just a mortgage on the house? Right? I'm sure a lot of you guys have, if you've been doing this and you've been asking, like, how much do you owe on the mortgage? That's a direct question. And you can get people who's like, this, quite frankly, I don't think that's any of your business. And you're like, oh, my bad. Right. And so what I did was I told them why I'm asking, because we need to pay it off. I said, will we need to pay off any taxes, liens, or is it just the mortgage on the house? right? So I'm asking you about the mortgage, taxes, and liens which you owe because I'm offering to pay it off for you. That's a difference than just asking for my own benefit, right? Um, Furthermore, you can say, so if we, okay, we do need to pay out. So if we are able to purchase the property, how much do you owe on the mortgage that we'll need to pay off at the closing table? That's the follow-up question. So that way you can get exactly how much they owe without them giving you too much pushback. So when you have to ask them a question, and it's probably an analytical seller who is not willing to answer your question, or you feel like they're going to give you some tug of war, make sure you tell them why you're asking the question in the question. Make it smooth, right? Are you the only one who will need to sign off on the paperwork? Are you the only decision maker? I'm not just asking, are you the only decision maker? I'm asking because I need to know who I'll need to send the paperwork over to, right? That's a pro tip right there.
And with this property, I understand that, it needs, like you said, just some cosmetic, just, paint, lipstick work, but structurally it's sound. Had you considered listing the property on the MLS?
That did cross my mind. But like I said, once again, and I don't mean to be evasive, but I'm in a position where I don't have to say, I'm not forced to sell it. You know what I mean? So I really hadn't been focusing all of my attention to it. Like now I can really do more focusing on it.
That's CAP. And for those of you who don't know what CAP means, please ask my soul brother number one, Richard, what does CAP mean? He's going to tell you. But I want to stop the call right there. I got a blast. But I definitely will follow up and go over a little bit more about this call, and we have a follow-up call with him. But that's just, I guess, part one, and I'll break down a couple more calls. My goal here, obviously, I go live with Byron. We just kind of talk about general business stuff, which we will. But my goal here is just to help take what I know about acquisitions and sales calls and break it down. So that way you guys can kind of get in the mind of how to talk to PPL leads, how to talk to prospecting outbound leads. Yo, we got Ed in the house, man. Shout out to Ed. Hey, Ed, I think Ed has gotten married, or if not, Ed's getting married pretty soon. If I'm not mistaken, man, Ed, just let me know, man. I'll whip up some vegan, gluten-free quinoa cucumber nuggets for the special event, man. But I just want to wish another special congratulations to my guy Ed, man. 2 more weeks. Woo-hoo, 2 more weeks, dude. Hey, I might need to come because I know I could, if I come, then I can say I know you, and then I'm in. People gonna love me when, what I'm saying. So I'm just letting you know. Consider sending me an invitation. But I'm gonna wrap that up. But this here, I want to just kind of again express acquisitions and just kind of get you in the mindset of talking to PPL leads, outbound leads. We do cold calling still and prospecting and things like that. And so tune in, keep tuning in. We'll talk a lot more about it. But I want to give a shout out to Ed, man, Tanya and Richard Jackson, and the entity, man. Shout out to you, bro. And a couple of people on IG, man. A lot of people on IG, man. Jay came through. Jay said, you remember that one racist lady who asked us how dark our skin? Oh, we might need to do a real estate story time, if I'm being honest. You might need to do a real estate story time. I got a couple crazy stories. I might make some videos about that. But definitely, some lady asked us how dark our skin tone was. She was trying to, I guess she thought I was a white guy. Y'all hear my voice, man. Whatever. But when she found out I was black, then she went bananas. But shout out to Cody. Shout out to the 1A, Ron Jones official. Shout out to Samar. Shout out to everybody who came in. TDB 1000. Shout out to King Say, put me in the game. checking in. Hey, okay, got you. So you came in. I saw you, bro. Checked in on my YouTube as well, bro. I appreciate you. Say. Les Miller. Shout out to Les Miller. Terrence Jake. And that sounds like Terrence about to get some work done. But I just want to appreciate y'all. Just let me know if y'all got any questions, if anything looked good, if there's anything that you think I could do better with these calls. But as for right